I would be more and more leery of signing these ex-WWE guys right now. I mean, like, the Miro story obviously has been talked about for, ever since he basically disappeared and people going like, what happened with him? And they, in September, they came to him, Tony Khan came to Miro and he had this idea, which would build to a match on the November pay-per-view, the November 18th pay-per-view, or 19th pay-per-view. And he didn't want to do it, and it involved some people. It's weird, some people, a lot of the people who come from WWE, are very leery, obviously Bryan Danielson being the exception, about doing jobs, and then it becomes very difficult to book when you don't really want to do programs where you're going to lose. So, but anyway, they went through, and now November's over, and now we're in the new cycle, and they were going to bring him back, and try to come up with ideas for him. And they very well may. And then, his wife comes in and says, well, Rusev Day is going to come back, and everybody goes back to WWE. And it's like, if I'm Tony Khan at this point, given everything that's happened, and, the wife of one of the wrestlers goes and says, he's just, essentially everyone goes back to WWE. It's kind of like, why waste my time pushing this guy? I got 100 guys on the roster who want to be here, and now you've got these guys who want to be in WWE. Like I said, like there's guys there. I mean, Keith Lee and Strickland, obviously. They had a chance to go back and they didn't, and they didn't even entertain it. And then you got guys like, but a lot of the guys, wanted to leave, and so it's like the guys who you think, the guys who signed there, we saw with Regal and everything. If they're guys who you think really want to be there and just got fired and everything, but can't wait to get hired back, it's kind of like, I don't know that those guys have been that beneficial. I mean, House of Black, obviously, they're going to be starting to do stuff again with them, and they'll probably be beneficial. But a lot of the guys, it's been, the guys who treat it like, I've been to WWE and this is a lower rent thing, and I'm just here for, you know what I mean? Like, those guys are really not benefiting the company, whereas a guy like Jericho or Moxley, and Jericho might go back someday, but the fact is that Jericho, he does what's best for AEW business, or what he's willing to do, he's willing to lose, and he likes the fact he has input. And Moxley in the same way, they're not, Moxley's not looking at going back, obviously, but, the guys who, and I don't blame the guys. I mean, you go where the money takes you. But if I am running AEW, my thought would be to go with the guys who I think are going to be there over the long haul and not waste time pushing guys when you've got limited television time and limited spots on the pay-per-view, even when you have 15 matches on some of these shows. And I mean, it's like when people go like, he's not using this guy. And it's like, there's reasons. And if you're going to play ball, that's fine. And if you really don't want to, or you're really just biding your time to go somewhere else, then, it should be different. So, that's the basic situation. And if you are a wrestler in AEW, and in WWE for this matter, but it never seems to happen. WWE guys are so fearful of what they do in social media that, this rarely is going to happen. But if you're in AEW and, you want to be gone, I think the one thing you should do is don't go public and say it, or don't have your family members go public and say it, because then, if I'm the promoter, I got other guys I can push. So I would say keep quiet if that's your goal, because saying it will just probably hurt the amount of TV time that you get, and rightfully so.
Or maybe don't sign with the company and don't cash their checks if you're not willing to commit and be all in, when you're there. If you're not going to be loyal, maybe you should go find another company or another occupation. It's just, I don't know, the whole thing with maybe Vince is coming back, maybe he's not. A lot of people, when the transfer of power was made, suddenly now the grass was greener on the other side, and it's just like, no place you're going to go is perfect, but you signed and committed to being in one place, so you should probably, commit to being there.
Well, everyone,
I don't know. I don't have a lot of sympathy.
It's some people who have been, some people have been in WWE when that day ends. They say, they talk a big game, but then they don't, I have seen so many guys that got cut from WWE over the years who say, I'm going to work my way back and I'm going to show them they made a mistake, and I've never see them again. It's like, if you're there, you can, it's harder, because there's not as many. There's a lot of indies, but there's not a lot of indies that pay well. But you could do what, there's what Drew McIntyre